have another video for you. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time in taking some time to watch these videos. I hope you get something out of them. I do every time I do them. I learn something. But thank you for taking some time. And if you haven't, please subscribe. We hit 100. We had 1,000 subscribers last week. And it's not that. I guess it's important, but I'm not monetized. I don't do any of this for the money. I do it to learn, to share, and to bring some fun into what we're doing here with all these records. It gets crazy sometimes, but anyhow, thank you for being here. So normally I don't talk about things that are new. I leave that to some of the other great people here on the vinyl community, and I could go down the list, but I'd leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that. So I think those of you who keep track of this stuff probably know who everybody is. But today I'm going to talk about a few kind of under the radar releases that came out this year that I haven't seen talked about a whole lot, that I think are really tremendous stuff. Kind of getting in my end of the year mode. I'm sure we'll start seeing the best of 2023 stuff coming soon, and that's great. So let's get into this. I pulled out 4 or 5, I think maybe 6 records here. I'll go through fairly quickly for you that I think are way underappreciated. The first one is a fairly new release, and it's called You Get More Bounce with Curtis Counts. I'm not going to elaborate on what they mean by that, but it's a pretty amazing cover for the time. This is on the Contemporary label, and it was released again by Kraft. And Jack Sheldon's on this. I think I talked about this in a prior video, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. But Curtis Counts Group did 2 records. This is one of them back in the mid-50s. And some great players on this, of course, with Jack. But, you had the West Coast guys. Carl Perkins is on this. Harold Land is on this. Some great players. Extremely well mastered. And, of course, it was recorded at Contemporary by Roy Danan and then remastered recently by the great Bernie Grundman. If you don't have this, pick it up. I think you can still get copies of this. It's still around. It's, I think, one of the best contemporary reissues that they did. Again, put out by Kraft Records in that series that they did with all the contemporaries this year. Curtis Counts, good bass player, great band. Another record that I think went really under appreciated this year came out early this year, I think January, February, and that's a record called Slow Drag, and it's a Donald Byrd record on the Tone Poet series. A couple of these are Tone Poets, and at the end I want to talk about that Jack Wilson record that I talked about in the last video. I think I figured it out, so just hang in here for a minute. Billy Higgins, Cedar Walton, Walter Booker, and Sonny Red. Sonny Red, interesting guy, very under the radar guy, was active in New York in the 60s, did some recording with Paul Quinichette and some of the other players. He refused to get into that kind of that funk thing that was going on in the late 60s, 70s, and just continued playing bebop and didn't make a lot of money. He died very poor of pneumonia in the early 70s, rather young, I think in his 50s. But a great player. He had that kind of an Eric Dolphy sound. If you can put Eric Dolphy and Parker together, I think that's what I would say Sonny Red's sound would be. But his real name was Sylvester Kiner, K-Y-N-E-R, from Detroit. But he had red hair, kind of light red hair, so they called him Sonny Red. But again, the tone poet, Van Gelder situation. It's a very underrated record. Slow blues, slow drag. It's interesting. Billy Higgins is credited with a vocal on here. He does a little chanting in the middle of his tune, and it's quite cool. But some great tunes on this record, and it's a great version of Secret Love, by the way. We're very up tempo, and you know, this is, I think, some of Donald Byrd's best playing before he got into, you know, kind of the mode that he did later in his career. I personally don't care for, but Donald Byrd was a great player, and and played some great stuff. Here's an interesting record. I don't know if you can still find this. It's a Miles Davis reissue, and it's on the Impex record label, and it was done in the Black Hawk in San Francisco back in, guessing here, 1961, because it had Jimmy Cobb and Paul Chambers and Wynton Kelly and you know, that group, and you know, it's just a great recording for a live recording back then. And you know, we have all the other recordings, but I think the two best live recordings that I enjoy the most is, of course, the Four and More at Carnegie Hall with the later quintet, and then this record here. I don't know if it's still around. It's an Impex reissue. Great sounding record, a great mastering by Kevin Gray. But if you can still find this, pick it up, and I think you'll really enjoy the sound. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think Miles' second best live recording that I enjoy. Underappreciated. Another contemporary that I think is just so underappreciated is Benny Carter. And Benny Carter, man, what a player. I know Phil Woods just loved Benny's playing. And he just did it all. I mean, if you look up at what he did, look him up on Wikipedia. You'll be amazed. I mean, he did everything. But great players on here. It's kind of the West Coast crowd. Kessel's on this, Jimmy Rolls, Andre Previn is on this, Leroy Vinegar, Shelly Manne, the great tragic Frank Rossellino plays great on here, and Ben Webster is on here on one or two cuts. Interestingly enough, Benny Carter plays trumpet on one or two cuts on here. But Benny's sound and the way this is remastered, again, I guess it's a Dunan, and I think it's another Bernie Grundman mastering, but I think this and that other Curtis Counts contemporary, they're the two. I mean, we all love the Art Peppers, of course, and so many other things, but these are the two under the radar contemporaries I would really suggest. This you can still find. Let's see, I got two more. Here's another Blue Note tone poet, and it's Joe Lano, John Schofield, Dave Holland, and Al Foster. And it's that record called, I'll say it wrong, Shalom Hofo. Skolofofo. And it's the first two letters of each of their names. But Lano plays so good on this record. It's a little, I think, underrated. Some of the other records may have gotten a little more play, but this record, I think, is the best Lano reissue that he has done. I think it was recorded in 2002, again on Blue Note and remastered by Kevin Gray. But if you can find this, pick this up. If you can't, stream it. It's some great music. Blue Note Tone Poet released earlier this year, about the same time as Slow Drag. Finally, and when I do my, I'll give you a little heads up, but when I do my best of 2023, this record's going to be in it. And I don't know how many other people will put it in it, but it's Wayne Shorter's Schizophrenia with Curtis Fuller, Jim Spaulding, Joe Chambers on drums, and of course Herbie and Ron Carter on bass. Almost part of Miles's Miles's great quintet, you know. And some great tunes on here. They're all Wayne Shorter originals except for one tune called Kryptonite by James Spaulding. Um, and it's just, again, remastered by Kevin Gray on Blue Note Tone Poet. It's just, I think I put this in one of my top 2 or 3 best Wayne Shorter records of all time. His playing on here is just immaculate. It's just so wonderful. Um, you know, I can't tell you which tune I enjoy the most, but I guess the title tune, Schizophrenia, is just an amazing tune. It's kind of an up-tempo. It starts really slow, and then I think after a little drum riff, it just starts wailing. So check that out. I think you'll enjoy James Spaulding here. Very underrated player. He played some flute with Freddie Hubbard as well. But on here, he plays mostly alto, flute on a couple cuts. So those are just a quick 6 underrated recordings that came out this year. Again, we all deal with Love Supremes and Kind of Blues and, you know, some of the other things that have come out this year. But look for these. And if you get a copy used, if they're not available new, please look into it, pick it up. Thank you all again for being here. We'll do another video next week. And again, thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in a few days. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.